Hi, and welcome to Teen-tastic Tuesday. I am Diane Olivo-Posner, and I am the Principal Librarian Associate Director for the Exploration and Creativity Department of the Los Angeles Public Library.
And I'm Steve Orozco, the Library Assistant for the Exploration and Creativity Department. And we're here to introduce today's program, Skateboard Presents How to Ride.
We would like to thank our behind-the-scenes staff, which I think is us in this case, and the Library Foundation, who is helping fund our Winter Challenge programming. If you would like to see more of our amazing programs, please visit our online calendar at lapl.org/events. And now onto today's program. Skateboard presents How to Ride.
Yeah, Zach Moldoff started Skateboard with his wife Tiffany in 2019. Together they publish books and create programming with municipal organizations. Skateboard has helped to redesign, inaugurate, and invigorate skate parks with free experiences for disenfranchised people all over Los Angeles. Zach, along with some help from his friends, will show us the different parts of a skateboard, how to put one together, and how to choose the right board. So without further ado, welcome Zach.
Woo!
Yay.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Let's
having
make
me.
you the focus. There you go.
Yeah, not us.
Yeah. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
all of the library's care and reverence for skateboard culture.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
all
for
about
sure.
that. We even have, Steve, show what you just won last week.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
You got a
Yeah.
deck.
Yeah, Diane, where's yours? What you got?
Okay, I'm breaking mine out. Hold on. Oh, this is the cool one we own.
There it is.
Awesome.
It's so long.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, hold on.
Sector 9. Sidewalk surfing.
Okay, and this is the one I actually used during Ciclavia one year when I helped Anita Callie ride the library bike. I was on my skateboard. I think she pulled me a couple times too.
Yeah, for sure. Zach, you got one there?
Yeah, here's mine.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
Is it upside down? No, it's not.
Nice.
Got my neighbor's stickers. That's one of my favorite skate shops in LA. They're over in Leimert Park.
Okay.
And then we got some grip tape that we made ourselves.
Oh, super cool. Nice.
Well, you know what? I'm going to talk about this later, but I'm going to be putting these stickers, which are really book plates, on our skateboards.
Awesome.
I'll send you some, Zach.
Board's not done until it's got stickers on it.
That's right.
So we got some videos that we're going to show today, right?
Yeah. I got the great opportunity, thanks to the library, to get together with some of my friends who have been part of skateboarding since it's been what it is today. Paul Schmidt is the guy who made skateboards as we know them today. He invented them when skateboards were a very different thing in the 80s. And then Ray Barbie and Shiloh Greathouse were two amazing, innovative pro skaters who gave us a lot of what we know and love as skating today. And Kevin White is a young, up-and-coming, amazing pro skater, another innovator of today. And we're all here to just, and who can forget Fabian Alomar, another contemporary with Ray and Shiloh. So we're just all here to help people understand that in spite of sometimes harsh outlooks from the outside, skateboarding is a really welcoming and accepting culture. And one of the most amazing things that you can find is at a skate park, it's a place where all people can get along and support each other, even if you're total strangers. And you don't have to be great at skateboarding to be part of skateboarding. You just have to be committed to it and be skateboarding, and skateboarders will love you for that. So we wanted to do what we can to help you understand a skateboard and pick the one that's going to be the most comfortable for you, so that you're going to be the most likely to want to get out there and ride it, and give you some information so that you can really understand why the skateboard is what it is. And hopefully this will all be really helpful and informative, and we'll be able to answer some questions if it's not enough.
Cool.
All right. Sounds cool.
This is going to stay on our YouTube page, the library, so anyone can always go back and check it out over and over and over again. All right.
Yeah, totally. So without further ado, let's show that first video, and we'll come back and show the rest of the other ones. Here you go.
How are you? Here we go. Welcome to skateboarding.
Brought to you by the Los Angeles Public Library.
Hey, what's up, buds? I'm Zach Moldoff. I wrote this book, Skatebud. Welcome to skateboarding. Can you do a kickflip? From the outside, skateboarding probably seems pretty hard, huh? But really, it's only hard if you don't learn it from skaters. The truth is, we can make it easy for you. And that's why I'm here today, to take you on a tour of skateboarding. When you start doing a lot of other stuff, whether it's a sport like playing baseball or an art like drawing, you're starting from a familiar reference point. Yeah, maybe baseball might involve swinging a bat, but who hasn't run before? Most people who start playing baseball have run before they start playing baseball. Whenever you decide to say, hey, I want to really explore techniques of drawing, you have a familiar reference point. You're holding a pen or a pencil or a marker in your hand, something that you've done before. But when it comes to starting with a skateboard, I mean, have you ever tried to stand on banana peels, on glass or ice? First, we're going to talk about the parts of a skateboard and how to take care of each one and how to pick your own board. We're going to go see Ray Barbie and Shiloh Greathouse, two pro skaters who have done amazing things. And they're going to talk to us about all the parts of a board, how to put grip tape on a board, how to take care of your board, how to fix your board if something breaks, and even how to pick out a board. We're also going to see Paul Schmidt. Paul Schmidt invented the skateboard deck as we know it today, rails as we know them, and who knows what else. He's going to walk us through history and tell us how skateboards got to be what they are today. Because not too long ago, a skateboard was a pretty unreliable contraption. We're also going to see our buddy Kevin White, another pro skater, and he'll have some things to tell you about being a new skater.
Man, this is so great. You are all so lucky. You're going to start out skating, learning from the people who invented skating. So then if someone tries to tell you, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, you could tell them, yeah, you think Ray Barbie doesn't know what he's talking about? You think Paul Schmidt, Professor Schmidt, inventor of the skateboard, doesn't know what he's talking about? Come on.
Super cool introduction. You talked about your book here, Skatebud.
Woo!
Coming soon to a library near you.
Coming soon. Yeah, we're getting it cataloged.
Yeah.
We'll be on the shelves, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, one of the great things about the book is it takes all these parts of skateboarding that it'll take you a couple years of just hanging out with skaters and talking a lot to really hear the things over and over again and be able to figure them out. And it puts them in simple diagrams like this, where if you're new to skating, it's hard to sit there and watch and wait or try and go online and search for tricks you don't know the name of. Things like this make it really easy for you to just pop a book open and then see diagrams of every single trick and how it works.
Yeah, I like that it's small enough you can put in your back pocket, like your cell phone and everything.
Yeah.
All right, so let me hop over to the other computer and do video number 2. 1 sec.
Because we're high tech here at the library.
Yeah. Well, all tech is high tech today.
That's right.
Even a book. Part of the reason why we designed it to fit in your pocket is so that it can be more like, a high-tech book.
That's right.
Because people expect everything to go with them and have access to it. So if you can just throw it in your bag, your backpack, your tote bag, or another kind of bag, and you don't know it's there, carrying it around, and then, oh, I need to remember something about skateboarding.
There it is. And, you don't always have Wi-Fi. So this is perfect. You have it right there. And the library has other cool, here we go.
Hi, I'm Ray Barbie, and I've been skateboarding for probably about 30 years. Let's talk all things skateboarding.
And I'm Shiloh Greathouse, and I've been skating since, I want to say, like seriously skating since like 1983. So you can do the math. I'm, really excited to tell people about something that I love. So to begin with, this is a skateboard deck, right? This is what it all goes down on. And at first glance, it might look like it's symmetrical completely, right? But there is a nose and a tail. We call this shape a popsicle stick. It's kind of like the most common skateboard shape nowadays in skateboarding. But the nose is always a little bit longer than the tail, and that's one way you could tell. This particular skateboard has it's special because it was made for a blind pro skater, so it has a little notch on here to tell you it's a nose. When it comes to a professional skateboard deck, which is what pretty much everybody's riding nowadays, right? They're fairly inexpensive and they're everywhere. They consist of 7-ply maple veneer pressed with a concave that has a tail and a nose that gives you the leverage to make the board pop to do your tricks, right? And the concave gives you the leverage to flip it, And when it comes to skateboard sizing, obviously if you're younger and smaller, you're gonna want a smaller board. If you're bigger, not necessarily older, but bigger, you're gonna want a bigger board. And it really comes down to preference though, more than anything else. When you go into a skate shop and they're probably gonna ask you, what size board do you want? And they're referring to the width more than anything else. And that's determined by, in general, your foot size, but it's really preference. When it comes to the sizing of a skateboard, a bigger skateboard would mean the length and the width of the board. And generally, skateboards have gone throughout history. They've gotten skinnier and wider over the years. Now we're in an era where everybody's riding mostly wider boards. It's more in relation to foot size when it comes to width. If you got big feet, you better off riding a bigger board. If you got little feet, you should ride a little board, right? The length in between the two trucks, there's the wheelbase, and that determines the amount of leverage in the weight of the board when you're ollieing, basically. So back again, if you're a taller person, you usually want a bigger wheelbase, and if you're smaller, you want a shorter wheelbase. And nose and tail length are generally the same on most skateboards. That's not, that's a fine tuning preference. It's nothing to worry about when you're getting into it. You just want to get a board that you're comfortable standing on. But most people, the bigger feet you have, the wider a board you're going to want to ride. And if you're a young kid and you got little feet, you're going to want a smaller board because it's going to make it easier for you to learn how to do tricks on it. Right now, the skateboard consists of 7-ply maple veneer that's pressed into a shape. And that's what gives you the concave, which gives you the nose and the tail, and it gives you a center concave, which makes the skateboard, maneuverable when you're doing tricks. The tail and the nose give you leverage to make the board ollie, right? And then the concave gives you the leverage to make the board flip easier. So this is a piece of grip tape, right? You need grip tape to ride the skateboard. You gotta stick it to the top of it. It's just adhesive silica paper. I don't know. Anyway, this is grip tape.
So here's how you grip a board. You have your grip tape and you have the board. So you'll need your razor blade because you'll need something to cut the grip tape with. And then you'll have a file. So you'll want to peel the grip tape. You'll take the little backing off the back. And then you'll want to align it over your skateboard. And I was always taught that to alleviate the air bubbles that you can get, then you put one side on the tip of the tail and the other side of the grip tape on the tip of the nose. And then you just kind of gently pat it down. So next, after you've taped your board, now it's time to cut it. So you take your razor blade, kind of just go up underneath and you cut through to get to the board. And then you just take the razor blade and go along the side of the board, cutting off the excess. So once you've cut off the excess grip tape on your board, I like to put a finishing touch on it by taking a file and just kind of smoothing off the edges. That way the grip tape doesn't peel up on you when you're skateboarding. And so you just take your file and you just kind of go at an angle. There you go. Ready for the next step.
This is called a truck, and you need these on a skateboard to ride it and to make it turn properly. These attach with 4 bolts on both ends of the skateboard. They have usually urethane bushings in them that have rebound, so when you lean the board to side, you can turn. They're generally made out of a alloy, steel alloy, so they can grind on pretty much any surface, and that's when you get to the next level and start grinding stuff. A truck consists of a base plate, that's the bottom portion of the truck. Then you have this bolt that comes through the base plate, which is called the kingpin, and that's what holds the top portion, which is called a hanger, to the base plate. In the kingpin, you have bushings, and these are what give the truck rebound when you turn side to side. So when you lean one way, it pops back up without you having to really push it, bring it back. Now, the truck has an axle that runs through the hanger, and this is where your wheels attach with these nuts on the end. On the axle, when you buy a brand new set of trucks, there'll be 2 washers that are attached to each side of the axle. I recommend you save these and don't throw them out. A lot of people do, but they play an integral role in how the truck works. They put a space in between the bearing on each side so the bearing is not pressed against the hanger or the nut, and it helps your bearings roll faster and better. And actually even extends the life of your bearings because there will be less play. When you go into the skate shop to buy trucks, you're gonna have choices in widths from narrower to wider, and that is completely related to the width of your skateboard. So ask at your local shop, when you find the board that's right for you, make sure that they match it up with a truck that is going to be complementary to the skateboard width. You don't want your trucks in too narrow, or you don't want them sticking out too wide outside of the skateboard. So here we have a skateboard wheel. This one has bearings in it already. You just pressed in by hand. It's not too hard to do, right? And your bearing, this is what the bearing looks like outside of the wheel. And you take them and they're just pushed into the wheel. So when it comes to skateboard wheels, there's plenty of different varieties out there. And this is also something that has to do with preference, right? But wheels are sold in different durometers, which is how hard they are or how soft, right? And in size. So when it comes to skateboard bearings, there's a variety out there. There's different grades and levels of just materials made to use them. So when it comes to bearings that have an ABEC rating, those are bearings that you aren't buying to maintain. You're just gonna buy them, put them in your skateboard, and just ride them until they're no good anymore and get a new set. But when it comes to higher end bearings like Swiss or ceramic bearings, those are bearings that generally last a lifetime. You just have to maintain them.
So,
That's cool.
should we answer some questions?
Yeah, let's
totally.
get to
We
that.
have some here. Let's see. Here's a grip tape question. How often do you need to replace your grip tape, or do you need to replace it?
Yeah, you only need to replace it if it gets like ruined, and it's actually a pretty hard process. The best bet is to use a hair dryer or a heat gun. And then in the best case scenario, that would have like a scraper tool attached to it that allows you to heat the grip tape up and peel it off. But in general, you don't have to ever repair or replace it. But you do have to clean it. And there's a part coming up soon that will detail how to do that.
All right, cool. Thank you. Let's see. Here's one about trucks. Are all trucks created equal? What truck would you recommend for a person barely learning to skate?
Yeah, I love this question because it's also one that is like, it's so contentious within skate culture for, hardcore lifetime skaters. They have deeply emotional opinions about trucks and different brands of trucks and how well they turn or don't turn and all these intricate nuances of skateboarding. But really, so the long and the short, no, all trucks are not equal. Some trucks do things better, okay, so a truck has a few functions, right? It grinds, but then it holds your wheels on your board and allows you to turn. So some trucks might grind better than they turn, some trucks might turn better than they grind, and some trucks might really like split the balance really well. But I think when you're new to skating, the thing that you really need to just look out for is to ensure that all the components are metal. If you're new and you're starting out, a lot of times you'll see beginner boards that have plastic trucks on them. And those, they simply won't last. And really, like, for the amount of money that you're spending in the first place to get the board, it's not that much more to get metal trucks instead. And the difference between plastic trucks or metal trucks is like a board working or not working. And for when you're starting out too, you don't need to have like the ultimate in performance. You just need something that does the basic function and does it well. So thankfully, the intricacies of trucks is something that you don't really have to worry about until later. And when you're starting out, just try and focus on finding something that's made of all metal components, and just make sure that also I guess that's to say, except for the bushings, that's this part here, like we talked about, that should be rubber.
Cool. Let's see. We have a question about wheels. What's the difference between the harder and softer wheels?
That's for the kind of terrain you want to ride. Softer wheels are going to grip the ground more, and harder wheels are going to be more slippery. So really, like, if you want to be doing tricks that involve grinds and slides and a lot of spins where you might land and then do the last little part of the spin as kind of like what we call a power slide, then you need harder wheels. But if you want to say like, oh, I'm going to hop on my skateboard and ride like 5 miles, then for sure you want soft wheels, because those hard wheels are not going to be fun for that. They're not going to feel good, and soft wheels feel really good for just riding around and cruising, or if you're like going over rougher terrain.
Awesome. And let's see. Here's one about bearings. I was told I need new wheel bearings. Is it easy to replace or install on my own?
Yes. So that was one thing that we did touch on here in the video, and we didn't have time to show it, but I'll show you really quick how to do this. So you have your board and you have your wheel. Ooh. Wow. Sorry, I was confused by the mirror-like effect of technology. Anyways, so you're gonna get your wheel off. Make sure you don't lose that spacer on there, right? The washer, because you really need to put it back on.
What was that tool you used?
It's a T tool. We'll get to this in a minute too. Skate tools, they just they have one size opening for the axle nut, one size opening for the kingpin nut, and then one size opening for the hardware nut. And then it also has like a screwdriver and an Allen wrench, Allen wrench and a Phillips head for the other side of the hardware. But then to get the bearing out, all you need to do is you're going to take your wheel and put it so that the axle goes halfway in, right? Like you can tell it's gone through one of the bearings, but not all the way through to the other bearing. And you just use a little bit of leverage and turn your hand, and the bearing will pop right out. I know that was maybe a little hard to see, so so you can kind of see there. But really, it's just this kind of motion of using the leverage point of the truck axle to grab the bearing like that in the wheel, so that the axle is not going to come all the way past the opening, and then by pulling against it, it's just going to pop it out. And then you do the same thing to put them back in. You'll just throw it on the truck, and then you press down, and you'll feel it. Once it pops all the way in, you'll know. But it's pretty straightforward. And then yeah, I usually do that with a glove on, a disposable glove, because your hands do get pretty dirty, and unless you have like a serious degreasing soap, that gunk is hard to get off. But no big deal. A small price to pay for all the fun you can have.
Taking it for the team. Good job.
Yeah. So let's see. Do we have any more? Let's see. There's one about what kind of skateboard do you recommend for beginners?
So it's there's a couple brands, that are like core skate brands that have been around for a long time, that are really a part of skate culture, deeply intertwined. Companies like Enjoy, Santa Cruz, Crooked, Real, that they make boards that are specifically for beginners, where you can go into a shop and it has all like really solid components on it that are made by these companies and their subsidiary companies. So you're not having like, oh yeah, I went to the shop and I got like a pro board, but then I didn't know what trucks to get, and I got some kind of like not good trucks and wheels. Anyways, but really the only thing you really need to worry about as a beginner is the quality of the components. It's less so the brand. When it comes to a deck, you want to have a 7-ply wood deck. It's usually maple, but like you could definitely get by with having some wood that's not maple for your first board. But it should have, this kind of shape. Oh, there goes my wheel that I didn't put on. It should have this kind of shape and look to it. Skateboards now are sometimes shaped a little bit different than this, which is, still closely the same. You want to make sure that the trucks and the bearings are two of the more complicated components, right? Where you want to ensure that what you have is not going to go bad like 1 month after you start using it, right? Because then if you've spent $60 on this skateboard and then now you need to go and spend another $60, that's a big bummer when a professional quality board costs 120, right? Or 110 or 100. So when it comes to the trucks and the bearings, again, you want to make sure your trucks are all metal except for those bushings. Those should be rubber. The kingpin, also, that's something to look at on the truck, because if the kingpin is plastic, that's definitely going to be an indication that it's cheaper and not really built well. With the bearings, you'll want to make sure the wheels spin well. Bearings work better after they're broken in. So a board that's brand new and just like sitting on the shelf there, fully assembled, those bearings aren't going to spin the same as they will once they're broken in. And most likely, the nuts are kind of over tightened when it's been shipped so that it won't be damaged, and then they need to be loosened a little bit so that you can really know how it spins. But just if you're in a shop, just ask them to loosen up so that you can see how the bearings will spin. If it's not a skate shop, that's I guess a little bit harder to investigate the product, but maybe that's another thing. And Kevin mentions this later in the video, but if you can afford to buy a board at a skate shop, it's you really won't go wrong by going to a skate shop. The people in there are going to help you pick out what's best for you. But I guess to kind of summarize as best as I can is like, look at the quality of the components and try to remember that the trucks and the bearings are the most complicated things there. And if you can get an idea of like, oh yeah, this seems solid, then it's good for you.
Cool. Awesome. Let's go on to video number 3.
So what I'm holding in my hand is a couple pieces of skateboard hardware. These consist of a bolt and a nut, and it takes 8 of these to hold both trucks onto your skateboard. They vary in colors and sizes and lengths, depending on the setup of your skateboard. And they usually either have a Phillips or a Allen head on the top. So when it comes to the lengths of hardware, when you go into a skateboard shop, there'll be various different lengths. Most applications, you're just gonna bolt the truck straight to the board. So with struck straight to the board, you would go with a 7/8 or a 1-inch hardware. But when you have bigger wheels, you have to raise the truck off the board so your wheels don't rub the board with what are called riser pads. So that would mean that you need to have longer hardware. When you have your completed skateboard, there is maintenance involved still, right? As you skate around every day, your skateboard hardware is gonna get looser. Your axle nuts will loosen up over time from the wheels spinning. What all skaters need is a skate tool. They come in all different shapes and forms, and sizes and everything. They have different things, but mainly what they do is they have a tool that you can use to keep your hardware tight. And if you don't tighten your hardware and you skate around and your hardware continues to get loose, at some point your truck's gonna fall off, and you don't want that to happen, right? And same thing with your wheels. Your axle nuts are gonna get loose, and you wanna make sure that you keep them snugged up where they need to be as well.
So a lot of times, whether it's because of the weather or just maybe where you're skating, if it's really dirty, your grip tape can become really dirty. And so they make grip tape cleaner, which is made out of rubber, and you just take it and you can clean your grip tape. And when you're rubbing it, make sure your fingers aren't close to the grip tape, or else you'll eat them up. Oh, and so you'll want to keep your grip tape clean, because a clean grip tape gives you the best grip for when you're doing your tricks.
So over time, when you're riding your skateboard, and as you're getting better, your wheels will wear down, and sometimes they'll wear down in a way where you get a flat spot in the actual wheel. And it's pretty annoying when you get a flat spot. It makes an uncomfortable noise, and it kind of hops around a little bit. And you can just buy new wheels. A lot of people do that. Or you can skate the flat spots out by doing slides, various power slides and stuff, and you can get your wheels round again. The choice is yours on that one. So when it comes to bearings and maintenance, if you decided to go with the higher end Swiss or ceramic bearings that do require maintenance, there are kits that they sell to clean them with, where it has a tool to remove the shield, and usually a solution that is an alcohol-based solution, some kind of solvent-based solution that you soak them in or shake them in a little shaker bottle to get the debris out of them. And then you have to take them out, let them dry, and then reapply lubricant, and then put the shields back in. Then you're good to go again. So when you get serious about skateboarding, you're gonna break them. So when you do break your skateboard, it's very simple. Take your trucks off, put your trucks on your new board that you had just gripped, and you're good to go. It's as simple as that.
Oh, also, your shoes are a pretty big deal. I mean, not so much of a big deal that you have to have some specific shoe, but you need to think about the shoes that you do have and the way that they affect your skating. If you notice that there's something about your shoes that you don't like, then try and pick some shoes next time that are different.
Man, Ray and Shiloh are such great dudes, and both so influential. Ray was part of the Bones Brigade. Shiloh was part of the original World Industries team. I mean, man, when you talk about street skating and what street skating is now and what people are doing, you take away those two guys and it's not the same. People might not even be doing it. And talk about doing it and making it look good too. Jeez, wow, major innovators there too. Because that wasn't always a thing either. Yeah, people had some style on skateboards, but not like this while they're doing complicated hard tricks and flowing through the streets, finding ways to connect different obstacles with skate tricks. Man, wow.
Hey, Paul.
Cool. Let's see here.
I noticed there was another question about what kind of shop to go to get a board. Really, like if it's a skate shop, then and you feel good about going in there, it's probably a good one. There's all kinds of different skate shops in Los Angeles. That's one of the cool things about this city is we don't just have skate shops. We have some that are there might also be like a local t-shirt printer in there, or there might be a women's clothing store in there. There might be graffiti art supplies in there. There's all kinds of other ways that skate shops kind of reflect different communities around the city. So I think if there's any skate shop that you've seen that you're inclined to, go check that one out. And if it feels good to you, then that's a good one.
Awesome. Yeah, let me get video number 4 up and running. Here we go.
So my name is Paul Schmidt. In the world of skateboarding, I'm known as Professor Schmidt. I started making skateboards at age 14, and I'm still having a lot of fun making them today. So we're going to talk about skateboard history. So skateboarding is pretty interesting because it started, how did it start? There's this little rumor, someone took a roller skate. So it definitely started with a roller skate, right? So the quad roller skate, this is a very common toy the first half of the last century. The quad roller skate was patented somewhere around 1880 by a New York City furniture salesman or furniture maker or something. And roller derby became a big player in the roller skate market, along with others, and many people made them. So roller derby noticed that the kids were breaking the skates apart and they were building their own skate crates. So here is a homemade skate crate. So if you look at the bottom of that, you can see the mechanisms there is the same mechanism here, right? So with just some 2x4s and a crate, and put a handle in there, you're cruising around the street. Now these steel wheels, they're rough and crusty, right? But it's resourceful, let's get away with it. So there's pictures early in the first half of the last century, people riding around scooters. So that was a very common thing. Well, the scooters would get broken and you had to get home. So it's pretty crazy, right? So the innovation of basically breaking this apart, making this, breaking this, right? So pretty cool stuff. So then in 1959, Roller Derby is a roller skate company out of Litchfield, Illinois. Okay, this is the world's first commercial mass-produced skateboard from 1959. Now Roller Derby made roller skates already. They sold them to roller rinks around the country. So the roller rink is where you got a skateboard. And they had their own sales and distribution system to get it out there. And then quickly the people would follow that, right? But they didn't necessarily have the sales or distribution system that Roller Derby had. And that let them progress. So these trucks are pretty crude. They got little rubber grommets in them, and they turn and work. If we look here and we want to go to 1963, here's a Roller Derby Deluxe number 20. See, the board is solid wood. Now the trucks here have 2 bushings in them like we see in a skateboard truck today. So now we have a look like a skateboard, right? The wheels are composite clay. There's ball bearings in there with the metal cup for the bearings to roll in. So this is basically better than the steel wheels, but still not that great, but this is where it was in the 60s, right? So one thing as well with Roller Derby, they're not in California. They're in Illinois, they're in the Midwest. Everybody wants to think skateboarding came from California, right? Well, the skaters might have taken the roller skates and broken them apart and built the crates, but actually the trucks and wheels came from Illinois, crazy as it is, right? So as we get in the 1973, we have the explosion with urethane wheels. So Frank Nasworthy made Cadillac wheels, which were the first urethane wheels. This skateboard here is not a penny board. This is an original OG plastic board from 74, 75. I had one of these as a kid myself. I bought it at the Zayre's department store in La Crosse, Wisconsin. You can see the trucks, the bushings are closer to what we're using now, but the wheels are urethane, so a lot more grip. You listen to that, you don't have that noise going on that we had with the clay or with the steel, right? So pretty cool. Things are progressing really quick. Now this board is fiberglass because the surfers, there were those that liked them wood, and there were those that liked them fiberglass, okay? Because surfboards are made of fiberglass. So part of it was resources. But this has Road Rider number 2s on it. So Road Rider number 2s were the world's first precision bearing wheel. So now it's not loose ball bearings anymore. The loose ball bearings, they come out, your wheels don't roll anymore, and you got to go find the parts or buy bearings and assemble them back. It was very difficult. But with the precision bearing, it alleviated all that. So as we move through the hierarchy of skateboards, we get to this Stacy Peralta Warp Tail 2. So notice that the tail is laminated. It's not a solid wood board anymore. It's now laminated. The kicktail was actually patented by Larry Stevenson in 1968. He never protected the patent because he couldn't afford to. And we're really glad that nobody had to battle over that, and we got the leverage of the kicktail, because that's where tricks started to progress and move forward, right? So this skateboard now, you go like, oh, that's plausible to what we ride now, you know? This has tracker trucks on it, which were the first skateboard truck produced for skateboarding, not a roller skate truck on a piece of wood, right? So it's a different thing. This particular board has Kryptonics on it. So I actually had one of these in 1977 myself that I rode at Rainbow Wave Skate Park. So we can see now we're 7-ply, we're starting to be laminated. In that era, there was some experimentation going on with constructions and trying things. There was a lot of ideas in the 70s. Well, me, when I started producing skateboards, here's a Schmidt-Stix Monty Nolder board. So this is from my brand. This is from 1983. This board has fiberglass and foam inside of it because I was trying to be tech, right? And make a more progressive board. But the reality is they were expensive to make and nobody copied it. And when nobody copies your stuff, it's not very good, right? So this board also has plastic rails on it. So these are Schmidt-Stix slide rails. So this is my first product that I actually started producing in 1978. So this board has independent trucks on it, and this one has Sims 63 wheels on it. But really big, right? 10 inches wide, 30 inches long, very common size for that era. So skateboards look like that in the 80s, and as we get the middle 80s, you start to see shapes. So you see the shapes and curve of this skateboard. But what makes this board iconic is the fact that the nose has a steep lever on it, just like the tail. So Larry Stevenson put the lever on the tail, and I put the lever on the nose, okay? And so this is a very iconic skateboard that a different Chris Miller model with the dog on it was the first board. This was the second one this way. So this board as well has tracker trucks with plastic base plates. Again, some experimentation going on. Didn't really stick, you know, wasn't executed well enough to progress skateboarding forward. So as you look at this board here, this board could be from 1995, 2000, 2005. You can see a board like this at the skate park now. The reality is that by the time we got to this era, we now had a nose that was as long or longer than the kicktail. Okay, we got a symmetrical parallel concave with hips in it. Things have changed, like thicknesses, concaves. Trucks might have hollow kingpins or hollow axles. Urethane formulas have gotten better, but in general, that's what a skateboard looks like. You might have a preference, you like 8 or 8 1/4 or 9 inch, or you want to be old school and ride something 10. There's no right or wrong in skateboarding. Because when you go in a shop, you go like, oh, look at all that rad stuff. Oh, I love this brand, this pro, this graphic. Usually buy what excites you mentally, visually from that, right? People don't buy a skateboard that much for function. But as you come to understand these pieces and building blocks, you can decide what's right for you.
I love him.
Legend.
So much knowledge. Oh my God. I want to just hang out with him in his shop.
Yeah, legendary Paul Schmidt. So we have a couple questions here. I guess this one is for you, Zach. Here you go. How long have you been skateboarding with your friends at the skate park?
Probably only like 4 years, because when I started skating when I was younger, there was no skate park for us to go to in South Florida. And then even when a skate park opened, it wasn't the same. That was just a place that we kind of stopped by. It wouldn't be a place that we really like spent time. You know, we would go out and skate in the streets. But yeah, I guess for about 4 years, I started skating again after a long hiatus. And NoHo Skate Park was where I started skating again. And I got lucky. I made a lot of friends there.
Oh, cool.
Have you ever skateboarded in a swimming pool? That's iconic for LA.
Yeah, I haven't. That's out of my skill range. No, I'm not a transition skater. I'm a street skater.
Here's another question about skate parks. We have a newish skate park open next to where I live. Any tips for first-time skate parkers?
Yeah, actually, in this next segment, Kevin's going to get into that. But in the book, we touch on a lot of things for skate park etiquette, and there definitely is a skate park etiquette. So I think just knowing that that exists, and you have regulars who go there every day, and to them, this is kind of like their second home. So they're not just showing up at the skate park; they're going to the place where they go when they feel happy, sad, angry, all these different things. So just remember that when you're going into a park, you're going into this public place that is for everyone to go and utilize, but some people are there utilizing it every day. So you have to keep in mind that at the park, things flow in lines. So just because you want to go to something over here straight ahead doesn't mean there's not a line that cuts across where someone who's been using the park more than you might be going and you don't see them. And then if you get hit, it might have been the other person's fault because they crashed into you, but it's your fault because you went and you didn't understand what was going on. And that's basically the norm there is skaters expect other skaters to understand the lines. And if you're crossing this line where other skaters are going super fast, then you need to be aware, right? And if you pull up to an obstacle and other people are skating, then you need to make sure everyone else has gone and taken a turn before you start, because that's how you show respect to everyone else. And a skate park, as Kevin will tell you, it's really just a place about showing respect to other people, because when you have respect to other people, they show it back to you and they're supportive. And that's what everyone really wants to do. People want to be there and be supportive to each other. They want to get respect and be acknowledged for what they're doing. So I don't tell you all these things to say like, oh, someone's going to come and be like, see, you didn't know this rule and we're going down the list and there's so many you didn't know. That's not the vibe that skaters are about. Nobody wants to stop you and say, hey, you're doing it wrong. Most likely someone won't. But I think the more that you're able to realize that it's a place where people do have expectations for how other skaters behave, even though skateboarding is this freewheeling culture. Mm-hmm. And you go into that and just be perceptive and respectful, then you'll be able to have a great time.
I think for me, it's really important to observe, like go check it out, observe what's going on. So you can tell like, oh, these guys or these gals come here a lot and I see what they're doing and where they're moving. And I'm not just going to, like you said, cross in front of them. I mean, that's like it is with surfing and with snowboarding. You're going to check it out first and be respectful of what other people are doing.
Absolutely.
Exactly. All right. Are we on one more video or is there any more questions?
Let's go with one more question.
There's a lot of love.
Yeah, there's a lot of love. But here's one question. Oh, it's a rad subject. Here we go. Let's see. My board is from 2006. Do you suggest I get a new one?
Yeah. There's rarely a circumstance where I would tell you like, oh, get a new piece of skateboard equipment, even though the piece that you have is functioning. But when it comes to a board, that's the cool thing about a skateboard is like, it's wood. So it's still organic. Like this thing was made by hand, by probably like 30 or 20 people collectively over the course of all the steps of the process. But it's a porous piece of wood with a lifespan. And once the skateboard isn't like snappy and firm anymore, it does function very different. And your ability to really maximize your performance is gone without a crisp board. So a board from 2006, even if you took care of it to the best case scenario, like you should probably get a new one.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So then let's go with video number 5.
Cinco.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Professor Schmidt. What a guy. We're lucky to get to meet him and know him, huh? Just imagine a world where skateboards don't have a nose and they're not shaped how they are now and they're not as snappy and poppy for doing all these tricks. Without Professor Schmidt, skateboarding is so boring.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Kevin White. Oh, yeah, no, literally just be mindful of other skaters in general. Like if there's someone up there waiting to go, you might want to wait a couple people, then take your turn, and you'll find out that other skaters will reciprocate that also to you.
they'll kind of wait for you. And you know, if you're not that good, if you just started, it's not a big deal. It's all about you and your fun. So if you come to the skate park, and even if you're just trying to go down a ramp or something, no one's gonna treat you bad or look at you in a weird way because you're just trying to skate. Chances are, if it's in the skate shop, then it's the right decision. If you have the choice to not get it from Target, if you can afford not to, then don't. Support local skate shops instead, definitely. But there's no wrong brand or wrong kind of skateboard. Yeah, when I was younger at the skate park, most of the older kids definitely, I would think that they like maybe didn't like me or they thought I was in the way, but definitely some of the older guys made it a full-on thing to just like let me know that I was welcomed. Oh, definitely don't be afraid to say hey or what's up or anything like that. And I'm here just like you, just skating and hanging out. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm watching, not in a bad way either, but I like to watch people skate and I like to watch people progress. So if I see you once and I see you twice and I see you 3 times, you know, like, it's all good.
Kevin's a pretty cool dude, huh? And when you want to talk about up and coming pro skaters in Los Angeles who have a reputation and are on a track to become like Shiloh and Ray, very influential, innovative people in the history of skateboarding, that's Kevin. And that's your buddy. Man, you're so lucky starting out skating knowing all these people. What the heck?
We got to stop by and see Fabian. He had something to tell you about taking care of your board.
This is your wheels on clean bearings. This is dirt. This is your wheels on dirty bearings. Any questions?
All right, I'm glad you can join us today on this tour of skateboarding. Hope you can come back next time. We're gonna be going back and seeing Ray and Shiloh again and some other fun people. And we're gonna learn about how to ride a board and some basic tricks. So I think you'll wanna tune in and catch up and be here next time. But in the meantime, just keep skating. And if you have any questions, don't feel afraid to hit someone up at the skate park, at the skate shop, or anywhere. And if you can't find anyone, remember, Skatebud is always there for you. No one's gonna be cool when they're being educational, right? Like, if you're teaching, then you're like, all right, you're outside of the cool parts already.
Yeah.
So then it's like trying to be cool teaching makes it even worse.
Well, but I would argue to say skateboarding.
Awesome. That was a great video.
That was the best.
Yeah.
Skateboarding.
Yeah.
I did like you in your car, Zach. That was the coolest.
Thanks. That's actually some animations that we reused from our video game, the Skatebud video game.
Is that on skatebud.com?
Yeah, not right. It's in the Apple App Store, and we'll have it on Android and App Store, like a big update coming soon with all that stuff to have fun with.
Yeah, for sure. And so, like, if they wanted to reach you, like, could they do your Instagram? That's Skatebud? That's
Yeah,
right there?
you can definitely reach out on Instagram. We're always happy to answer questions, or if there's anything that you feel like you need help with, please don't hesitate. And yeah, we have our website as well. You can find email contacts, sign up for a newsletter there.
Cool. We also put it in the chat so people can check that out in case you missed. And you can watch this video again anyway. So
Yeah.
as I said, over and over again. And part 2 is coming next week. So
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I don't think there's, let's see, check to see if there's any questions. Oh, here we go. Can we tweet you if we have skateboarding questions?
Yeah, I have my personal Twitter is just Zach Moldoff, ZACHMOLDOF, and happy to answer questions on there as well.
Awesome. Killer. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks so much for having me and the opportunity to help show so many people like these amazing legends of skateboarding who are mostly right here in LA with the exception of Paul. And he's not far.
Oh, cool. All right. Let's see. Thank you very much for joining us today. Make sure to tune in next week for part 2. That's the 28th, 4 o'clock. You can always catch it afterwards. We're going to have it on YouTube. It's going to live there. Take it away, Diane.
All right. Well, finally, our winter reading challenge is happening right now. When is it happening, Steve?
Right now.
Oh. So join the winter reading challenge and let a book charm, intrigue, and transport you. Complete 5 activities or more. I say do more. You're doing one right now because you watched this program. And you're going to be entered into a drawing to win a prize from the library store. And there's some really cool prizes. I mean, look, Steve got that deck right there behind him. And you get these cool book plates. So you can put them in a book, your skateboard book, if you get one, or
put it on your deck once you get your deck. Yeah.
Yeah, your deck, your snowboard, your surfboard. Well, you know, I'd go with snowboard or skateboard. And this reading challenge will continue till January 8th of 2022. So visit lapl.org/winter for more information.
Until next time, we truly we truly appreciate all of your support, and the success of Teentastic Tuesday and all of our library programs could not happen without viewers like you. So thank you very much.
See you later.
Till next time.
Skate park. Come on, Steve. Let's go.
Yeah.